Hi guys, welcome back. This video is a bit different than the videos I normally post, but today I'm going to break down the cost of our trip to Seychelles. I've received a lot of questions from people asking, a vacation to the Seychelles, isn't that super expensive? So with this video, I hope I will give you a bit of an idea on how expensive Seychelles actually is. I admit you can spend a lot of money there, especially if you stay in luxury hotels and eat out every day. But you can also do just fine with a smaller budget. In this video, I'll share the total cost of our trip and break them down and share some tips to save a little money. So let's get started. So, first, flights. The international airport of the Seychelles is located on the island of Mahé. After searching for flights on Skyscanner for hours, we found that flying from Brussels to Mahé was much cheaper than flying from Amsterdam. This saved us a few €100 per person. So if you're going to book a flight, also check other airports nearby. From Brussels, we flew to Mahé for about €650 per person. We flew with Ethiopian Airlines and had a layover in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia for about 3 hours. The total travel time was about 14 hours. While a visa is not required, all non-Seychellois nationals must apply for a travel authorization through the Seychelles Travel Authorization form. The cost is €10 per person. More information can be found on the Seychelles immigration website. Then, transportation. We visited 3 islands and chose to rent a car on both Mahé and Preslin. The activities and attractions on these islands are spread out and you have to cover quite a bit of distance if you want to see everything. On both islands, we rented a Kia Picanto from Creole Cars for 4 days on Mahé and 3 days on Preslin. The cost of the rental car on Mahé was €45 per day and on Preslin it was €50 per day. In addition, we took out an additional insurance for a deductible of up to €500 for €10 per day. For fuel, we paid a total of €50. So the total cost of the rental cars on Mahé and Preslin was €450 or €225 per person. If you want to save money, you can choose to travel around by bus instead of renting a car. A bus ride costs less than €1 per person, so you can save a significant amount of money there. However, keep in mind that the buses do not run entirely on time and that you may have to wait a bit longer sometimes. Also, you cannot take suitcases on the bus, so if you're traveling with luggage, they probably won't let you in. The third island we visited was La Digue, and on La Digue you're not able to rent a car. Only a few cars and golf carts drive on this island, but these are not available for rent to tourists. Cars are only allowed on the island if they provide a public service, such as picking up and dropping off tourists or construction support. What you can rent is a bicycle. If you want to explore the entire island, you definitely need one, as the island is too large to do everything on foot. We rented 2 bicycles for 3 days from Dada's Bikes, and the total cost for this was about €40 or €20 per person. Then, traveling between the islands. If you, like us, visit multiple islands, you can hop on a ferry. We ourselves used Cat Cocos ferries and went from Mahé to Preslin, from Preslin to La Digue, and from La Digue back to Mahé. The total cost of this was €142 per person. Make sure to bring the right medication if you're prone to seasickness, because the sea can be quite rough, making many people on board sick. If you don't want to travel by boat, you can also take a plane between Mahé and Preslin. However, this is much more expensive. Prices start from €150 per person. So next up are the accommodations. Seychelles is home to a number of luxury hotels, but there are also a large number of guest houses. Most apartments in the guest houses have their own fridge or a full kitchen, so you can prepare some meals to save money. We stayed in guest houses only, and the prices we paid in September ranged from €50 to €70 per night. Then, food and drinks. Well, the cost of food and drinks very much depends on the type of restaurants you visit and how often you eat out. In Seychelles, the prices in restaurants are comparable or slightly higher than those restaurants in Western Europe. For example, you pay an average of between 25 and 35 euros for a main course, 4 to 7 euros for a beer, and 12 to 20 euros for a cocktail. If you have to pay this 3 times a day for 10 days straight, it will cost you quite a bit of money. Fortunately, Seychelles has also many takeaway restaurants, also known as takeaways. Here you can find curries, fish, burgers, and pizza. A full takeaway meal costs between 7 and 50 euros and therefore are much cheaper than regular restaurants. Although we had plans to cook ourselves, we ended up getting takeaway almost every night, enjoying it on the beach while watching a beautiful sunset. For lunch and breakfast, we mostly bought something at the supermarket. For example, sandwiches with ham or cheese or Nutella. And I also ate a lot of noodle soup, which I love. Please note that the selection in the supermarket is quite limited, especially if you like bread, and also the prices are relatively high. Next up, activities and attractions. Most activities and attractions are free, but some of them require a fee. For example, most hikes are free and almost all beaches are free to access. The only beach that you have to pay for is Anse Source d'Argent. You pay about 10 euros per person to gain access to Le Union Estate grounds, where the beach is located. The most expensive activity we did was scuba diving. We dived with Equinox Seychelles Diving School at Shark Bank and paid 120 euros per person. This included a long distance fee and diving equipment. Another paid activity is visiting Vallée de Mai Nature Reserve or the Font Ferdinand Nature Reserve. We visited the latter and paid about 20 euros per person. If you're undecided about which park to visit, I'd go with Font Ferdinand. This park is far less crowded, has a better viewpoint, and is much cheaper. Other activities, you can book various day tours and trips to surrounding islands and snorkel spots. One of the most popular day trips is the day trip to Curious Island, the island where the giant tortoise live, in combination with snorkeling around Saint-Pierre Island. These types of trips often cost more than 100 euros per person. We ourselves did not do this type of day trip since we already went diving, and it is also possible to visit Curious Island on your own. Just take a water taxi from Côte d'Or Beach and they will take you there for about 50 euros. This is excluding the 22 euros per person entry fee. Once they drop you off, you'll discuss a pickup time to get back to Praslin. This way you save a lot of money and, depending on the time, you have a big chance of being there without too many other people. Last, a SIM card. We always buy a local SIM card with data so we have internet everywhere and don't have to depend on Wi-Fi. This makes traveling way easier, especially if you need to look up something or navigate while driving. In Seychelles, there are a number of providers that offer SIM cards. After researching, we bought one from Cable and Wireless as we read the best reviews about it. We bought a SIM card at the airport, and for 10 GB of data, which is valid for 30 days, we paid about 50 euros. A little tip: when applying for your travel authorization through the Seychelles Travel Authorization form, you can choose to already buy a SIM card and pick it up later at the airport. This is cheaper than buying a SIM card at the airport directly. If we add up all the costs we incurred, excluding the cost of flight but including the cost of transportation within the country, we spent just over 1,100 euros per person in 11 days. This is about 100 euros per person per day. Depending on the desired luxury of your accommodations and restaurants, you can expect to spend between 80 and 120 euros per person per day. This budget allows you to enjoy all the food and drinks, activities and attractions that the Seychelles has to offer without having to worry about cutting back. If you're willing to stay in guest houses, skip diving, use public transportation and cook your own meals, you could get by as little as 70 euros per day. On the other hand, the Seychelles is a destination where you can easily spend more. If you choose to stay in luxurious accommodations and eat out every day or even multiple times a day, your budget could easily climb to more than 150 euros per person per day. So that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it and found it helpful, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel with notifications on so you don't miss any future videos. I hope to see you for my next one. Bye!